They have a quorum.
So we do have a quorum. Did I hear? So we've got Mr. Lawson and Dr. Morris. Is that right?
Correct.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, I'm here.
You're good. So I'll call this meeting to order. Finance Committee at the Central Midlands Regional Transit Authority. It is Wednesday, July 13th, 10:04 a.m. Entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
I'll second.
Very good. I'll consider that adopted. Minutes from the May 11th, 2022 meeting. A motion or any corrections?
I move that we accept the minutes from the May 12th meeting.
And I will second.
You're good. All in favor? Aye.
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 You're good. All right, matters referred from the board. The only open item is the one about a period of time for Fare Free that was in the service committee. Is there an update, I guess, on where that stands from staff?
Not at this time, unless Pam, that was the project where they wanted to send a Fare Free idea to the service committee. Yeah, it didn't, they didn't, they don't have any updates on that yet.
Okay. All right. Any comments from Finance Committee on that open item? All right, hearing none, move on to item number 5, which is monthly financial reports from Finance Department. Ms. Andrews.
Good morning. I call your attention to page 8 of your packet. We're almost done with the fiscal year, so we're 92% complete with the fiscal year. For this month, we're at a net loss of about 2.5 million. That's largely because I didn't do an accrual for the penny tax. So that's why that would have been about $1 million, which would have brought it down to about $1 million, but I did do the accrual since we were collecting ahead of schedule. Total revenue here today is about 238,000. Again, that's 11/12, so 98% of our budget. So we are, with that, we collected about 83% of what we anticipated. Total expenses is 2.9 million, which represents about 61% of our annual budget. We paid to date to RATP Dev a little over $30 million. Our professional contract service, well, the next thing now, professional contract, marketing and security. We have outlined here what we paid in the month of to those contractors. Just wanted to point out, and it was asked that Mayor Coble falls in on the next set of Pruitt. So they actually have a retainer, a monthly retainer of that amount, 6,000. Past donations have not changed since I think the past 3 months. So that's just a carry forward, just to let you all know where we were. Total collections of the penny money from inception to date is almost 165 million. So that's about a little less than 50% remaining on it. We did get a payment. And we invoiced them in April, but the payment came in May. So of 6.1 million. With those payments come in, as you see, around quarterly. So we'll be invoicing them shortly for another one. And that's the end of my report.
Very good. Thank you, Roz. Questions for Roz?
I have a couple, Mr. Chair.
Dr. Morris.
Ms. Andrews, I just heard you said that we have a net retainer for Mayor Coble, I guess through Pruitt Company. Now, do we ever get itemization of what these funds are being paid for?
So they are in a contract agreement to where we basically have a $6,000 a month retainer. So when they are billing us, they do put in the gist of what they do in the month for us. But I guess to openly say that that 6,000 will still be paid whether they do anything or not.
Oh, gee. Is it, accessible to us? What they are actually doing?
Yes,
Okay, could we have that at our next meeting?
yes. Would you like it for a certain period of time or just every month going forward?
Going forward, the last month and going forward.
Okay,
I wouldn't want you to go back too far and dig this stuff up.
okay. And just,
Um,
go ahead.
okay, also, I noticed where we paid, Brownstone, 21,000. Could we have that itemized also?
You can.
Okay. And where do we stand with the bikes?
Where do you?
I asked you that because I thought sometime in the past, we had said we were discontinuing the bike.
Are you referring to the blue bikes?
Yes.
So we're actually in contract with them for at least another year.
Okay.
After that, we need to discuss what we're gonna do. I know the option to discontinue there, but that would also leave about 8 stations around the town that are branded the Comet. So we would have to do some type of discussion and planning as to what we would do, because again, federal funds pay for those. And we would have to be strategic about how we discontinue or move forward from there.
Okay, but nothing is coming out of the Comet budget for that. These strictly federal funds?
Yes.
Oh,
We're not,
okay.
we won't be adding in new ones, but you know, we'll work with what we have and see how the project is going. I guess at the end of the 5 years, bring it back to see if you guys want to continue or discontinue that service.
Okay, I thought we had a conversation a couple months ago or so, and we were contemplating discontinuing that, but maybe I'm wrong.
Okay.
Okay, that's it for me. Thanks.
Okay. Any other questions for Roz? All right. I guess my only questions are kind of my standing questions about, do we anticipate some of the federal expected expenses to be recognized in the current fiscal year?
Yeah, we actually next month, you know, we report kind of behind schedule. So in the month of June, you'll see a nice drawdown done by Michelle, a whopping 9 million. So she did her job. She gets to stay around for another year. Yay, Michelle.
What about on the expense side? Do we think that, I mean, so obviously that 9 million is drawn down and tied to actual expenses. Will we recognize the expenses? I'm looking on page 9 under the expense section, federal state, where we budget 15 million and have only recognized about 2 million. Will that number get closer to budget?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Just trying to understand, you know, kind of where we are, big picture, as the year comes to a close.
You know, and I will check into that, make sure that this is pulling like it's supposed to be. But yeah, with all federal expenses, we get very close to, like I say, we spend what Michelle tells us she has awarded, nothing more. So sometimes it even comes in a little less because a project didn't get off in time, but it's there as stated.
All right. Okay. Any other questions for Roz on agenda item 5, the monthly update through May? All right, hearing none. Thank you, Roz. We look forward to starting to get, you know, final numbers through June next month.
Yes.
All right, so Item number 6, DBE, update from Dr. Prince.
Good morning. The DB report is found on pages 22 through 25 of the finance packet. And there was another document that was submitted to you on yesterday, entitled the DBE Goal Methodology for FTA. Page 22 through 25 is a summary and a quick snapshot of the vendors with DBE goals as of May 31st, 2022. And as you can see from this information, the county had paid approximately 35 million to vendors with DBE goals. And of this amount, approximately 8.5 was paid to DBEs. This calculates to approximately 25.4%. On pages 24 to 25 is information relative to our contractor RATP Dale and the payments they're made to DBEs. As of going back to July 1st through 2020, up through May 31st, they had achieved a goal of 22.5% of their cumulative goal of 20.06%. And on page 25, I always show you a breakout just for the fiscal year. And that's from July 1st, 2021 up through May 31st. And this is for monitoring purposes, and that's calculated at 17.9%. I have been mentioning to you in the past that our federal DBE goal will expire on September 30th, and we have until August 1st to submit our new goal and goal methodology for the next 3 years. And the document that you received on yesterday was kind of like, it was information I pulled from the DBE goal methodology, kind of like give you an indication as to what our upcoming goal for the next 3 years is being proposed. Our current federal goal is 5.7%. And if you look at table 1, and it shows a process that we went through. FTA has a process outlined in the federal regulation, how to go about calculating the goal. They have a step 1 and a step 2 process. And the step 1 is to kind of like to look at all the DBEs that are available based on the upcoming contract opportunities that we will have. Based on communicating with our grants and regional coordination manager, Ms. Ramson, we have about $2.6 or $2.7 million that will be available for federal fiscal year 2023. And based on that and the outline of the various projects, there are about 98 DBEs that are available. And when we look at all the firms that are available in the area, that was about 1,003. And I received this information from the Central Midlands call. So if you divide 98 by 1,003, that comes to 9.8%. And in step 2, the regulation required that we make adjustments if necessary. So we looked at past participation, and our median past participation was right at 2%. So I added those two numbers together and did an average, and it came to 5.9%. So the goal that we're proposing for federal fiscal year 2023 through 25 is 5.9%. And as we receive additional federal funds, we can always go back and make corrections. But right now, based on what we have that's available, it doesn't show that the goal should be higher than 5.9%. And once we submit it to FTA, we have to demonstrate or show where the dollars are. And right now, I know we have submitted additional funding, federal funding, but until we receive that, I'll have to go with what we currently have in place. So I'm asking for approval. And also, let me go back. Another part of the goal methodology process is to include information from the public participation meeting that we had on June 16th. So that will be included when we submit information to FTA. And they also want us to address race neutral measures. And that's like awarding contracts to DBEs without having a contract goal. So basically what we're saying there, we will communicate, make sure information is getting out to individuals as we have opportunities available, and sharing that information, and also interacting with other firms that interact with small businesses. And another component that they require that we address is small business element. And that's basically for firms that are not certified or are not large enough. So they want to make sure that there's some type of mechanism in place. So we're saying that we will make sure we notify those firms as well. And we encourage them to be a part of the SBA directory, which is housed by SCDOT. But one of the things is to do more outreach to make sure firms are aware when we have contracting opportunities. So that would be a part of the goal methodology process that's due by August 1st. So my request is that the Finance Committee approve the DBE goal and the methodology for submission to the Board of Directors, so we can meet our deadline of August 1st.
Thank you, Dr. Prince. So we kind of have two separate things. We've got the current experience, DBE performance that you've highlighted, but then also this question of authorizing staff or recommending, let me look at the motion, recommend that the Finance Committee authorize staff to proceed in submitting methodology to the full board. Do we want to address the first part first? So current DBE performance, are there any questions for Dr. Prince about current performance?
On the current, Mr. Chair, I would suggest to Dr. Prince to every time you meet with the RAPDEP, make sure you stay on top of this DBE percentage. But we know that if you are not achieving the percentage during the fiscal year, eventually it's going to get caught up with us during the contractual years. So I noticed that every month during this fiscal year, or nearly every month, we have not been meeting the percentage goal. But yet, overall, for the contractual goal, we are meeting that. I see that as 22.5, but I am concerned about the 17.9 month after month, because eventually the contractual goal is going to be less than 20.06%.
And I want to share.
Did I say that clearly?
You did, Dr. Morris. Yep.
All right, thank you.
And I
Dr.
just want to share that I do have a standing meeting with RATP Day Up on a monthly basis. I meet with the general manager as well as Mr. Smith and Mr. Steve Sherrill. And we kind of like go over where they are.
And to clarify, that's Mr. Robert Smith, right?
Robert Smith, I'm sorry.
Yeah. That's all right.
Hey, Dr. Prince, I had a question for you.
Yes,
So good morning. So I understand we're reframing the methodology, and from what I understood, we're currently at 5.7 and you're proposing that we go 5.9, correct?
yes, that's on the federal side. Now, the information that I normally present to you on a monthly basis based on our local funds, where I give you an update for we have a goal of 25%. So that's just local dollars. So the information that for the second part of my report that I presented, the 5.9%, that's just based on federal funds only.
Okay, understood. So my question is, and I had a previous question, a few meetings ago, based on the duration of time that we contract with these DBEs, right? And I think the previous contract said that we were in contract for 3 years with an option for 5. Is that correct?
For the let's see, how much is it varies by contract? Okay, it varies, but I do have a for RATP Dale in terms of their contract goals is based on the contract period. And right now it says 5 years. And there was one contract that's being negotiated with Capital Building Services, and it was being extended. So that's the only one based on the data that I sent you. Everything is from 7/1/20 up through 5 years. That's what RATP Dev currently has in place with their subcontractors.
Okay, so I guess my follow-up question, understood. So I guess my follow-up question to that is moving forward, is there going to be a standard both on the federal and the local level with the duration that we're contracting with these DBEs, right? Because RATP Dev has 5 years with an option potentially, and then the other just reference.
It would be a different time frame because of the type contracts and Michelle is gonna address the timeframe.
Well, I wanted to let you know that also when we do these federal goals, it only counts for the year of the contract. So it's a contracting goal. It doesn't matter to the feds how long we have a contract with that one company. It only counts one time. So it is in our best interest for the smaller contracts or the shorter duration contracts to give other DDEs an opportunity sooner.
Right, understood, and that's my point, but that's not where we currently are. If we're locking in for 5 years with each agreement or with each DBE, we're not giving other or smaller DBEs an opportunity. So I hope that I'm making myself clear in the point that I'm trying to articulate. We need to address, Dr. Prince, we need to address going forward a standard contractual timeline. Now I get the feds are like, hey, we only care about this fiscal year. These 12 months is what's important. However, moving forward, if we can go with a shorter option, it is more work for us, but we ensure more opportunity for the community. That makes sense?
Yes, and when it comes to the federal funds, we probably can select shorter time periods. The 5-year is based on the contract we have with RATP Deb and their subcontractors. So for the other projects, they can be lesser, it could be a lesser time frame.
Okay, yeah.
Most of the other projects, Mr. Lawson,
Yes,
have
ma'am.
a beginning and an end. Like, you know, the RATP Dev is not really a project so much as just a contract for however long our duration. But for example, the Lucius Road project has a beginning and an end. And so we don't run into those 5-year contracts as much with federal funds as we do with the local operating funds.
Okay,
Yeah, I understand your point, yes.
okay. Thank you, ladies. I appreciate it. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? So I guess we need to consider a motion to, I don't want to make sure I get the language correct, for the board, that the committee authorize staff to proceed submitting to the CMRTA Board of Directors, the DBE goal methodology for fiscal years 23, 24, and 25 for further submission to the FDA to meet the August 1st deadline.
Is that a motion?
I'm happy, well, I guess I'd rather somebody else to make the motion, but if nobody will, I'll make it.
Well, I'll make the motion, but I want to know from Dr. Prince whether or not that includes everything that we need to do.
Yes, I have. The information I sent you was more like I extracted information from the DBE goal methodology, but it does include everything. Once the FTA, once the FTA reviews it, they're not going to make a decision on what our goal should be. They're just going to make sure that we follow the process. So I went back to make sure that we followed the process in terms of the overall goal methodology.
Hey, Andy, before you do, Dr. Prince, one quick question for you.
Okay.
The proposed 5.9% that we're proposing, is that, what's the industry standard on that for organizations our size?
In a lot of organizations, of course, I've seen the goal being a whole lot less. And it's based on the total dollars you have that's going to be contracted out. But a lot of agencies, as a matter of fact, it took me a little bit long because I did a lot of research. I went back to several other agencies to see what they were proposed, what they have proposed and pay it here. And they fought based on the process. Some of them had goals that were a little bit less or very close to the same thing that we were proposing. And like I said, this is just based on federal funds that we have in our upcoming grant for next federal fiscal year.
Okay, understood. Thank you. That's all I had.
Okay.
And this also does not include any future potential facility building or anything of that nature, because that's not carved in stone yet with funds coming to us. Trying to say it delicately. that will change that number. I assume will far exceed that number if that comes through.
And we
Understood.
can, and we can amend the goal
Yes, I can go
with a
back and.
significant
I can go
project like
back,
that.
once we receive additional federal funds, because right now I'm only looking at one federal fiscal year that we have. Once we receive additional funds, we could go back and make adjustments. But what I want to do now was to meet the deadline of August 1st, so we would be in compliance. I want to go ahead and submit
Right.
what we have currently in place.
Would the FTA, and I may have missed this, you may have said this, would they require us to reassess with such a significant project as a building
But it's
project?
in the regulation that if you have significant changes in your
Yep.
contracting opportunities, you can go back in and make adjustments.
Okay, and so just for the comfort of the committee and then the board, we would have to reassess. So it's not like we're gonna go a certain path and miss it or fail to do it. It's triggered by a cardinal change, I guess, to our federal fund receipts, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right, so we've got a motion on the floor. You have a second?
Yes, I'll second that motion.
All right, very good. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Excellent, unanimous. Okay, thank you, Dr. Prince and staff. For those reports, I think the last item is an update from Michelle on the NOLO grant. Michelle.
Yes, the information was sent out to you from the original proposal. We're kind of delayed a little bit due to trying to get the grant awarded through TRAMS. That gives us the actual ability to start drawing down money related to the grant. That doesn't mean we haven't been working on it. We have weekly meetings, so that once everything is set, we can hit the ground running. Right now, we're getting contracts between the Comet and all of the subs, the people, the bus companies, the company that is building the infrastructure for the fueling site, things of that nature, the actual fuel. These are all vendors that were proposed in the initial proposal. So it's not like that's going out for bid or anything like that. It's just getting the contract signed. We're real close on all of those. And the timeline, if you look at it, is about a 2.5-year timeline, but some of that, keep in mind, is for reporting and analysis. So I'd say overall, it'll probably be right around a 2-year project. My guess is we would be completed with the majority of it by the end of calendar 24. And we would still be doing some reporting and validation testing, things like that, but we'd be in service long before then. The overall budget for this contract, well, for the project is 4.9 million. We are receiving 4.1 in federal funds for that. And our local match will be about 813,000.
Okay. Any questions for Michelle on that process and budget? All right, very good. Thanks for that update. And I think generally, Finance Committee would like to see kind of updates on significant projects like that. Kind of as we move forward, we got a lot going on, a lot of special projects, I think, over the next several years. And so if we can sort of establish a pattern of reporting on those things, I think last time we met, we talked kind of quarterly update on significant projects like that would be helpful, or if there are significant changes in the interim periods.
Right, and next month, since that will be a quarter month as well, you'll get her, the grants, our federal awards, updated spreadsheet, and an update with the timeline for Lucius Road. And,
Right.
Even though this one was done off, won't report on this, but next month I plan to bring back the federal awards overall, was, awarded and expended, and a timeline on Lucius Road.
Very good. Any other questions for staff on any of those matters?
I have one quick question. So I'm looking at the chart. I'm on page 26 of the packet. So the incremental bus unit cost, what is that exactly? I'm just curious.
The incremental bus unit cost.
That's correct. On the use of funds table.
Yes, the FC is for the fuel cell bus.
Okay.
BEB is battery electric bus. So that's your price per bus for each fuel type.
So it has a base cost and then an incremental cost?
Where is, I'm sorry, I don't.
So it's on the first line item of that chart. And it says,
Okay, yeah, I see it. The incremental cost, I think, for the fuel cell are the added items that we require. I believe that's things like fare boxes, the camera equipment, all of that. I think they're just lumping it all into one line item there because they're both coming from New Flyer, both fuel types.
But, Chris, Mr. Lawson, just go over a couple columns. That'll let you know what the initial cost of a bus is. A fuel cell bus starts at 900 and battery electric starts at about 850.
right,
So
right.
the incremental of those additions we put into that.
Okay, understood. I was just a little confused about what an incremental cost of 400 grand would be exactly.
That's to upfit it to what we needed to be,
Okay,
to be, yeah.
and that's for 2 buses, yes? It says quantity 2.
That's for 4. That's for all 4 of them.
Oh, okay, so that cover, okay, all right, okay. It was only on one line item, but okay,
Right.
thank you. That's all I have.
Very good. Any other questions? All right. Thank you for your hard work on that. So that is the last item we had on the agenda. Before we go though, I would like to maybe hear an update from Pam. I don't know if you want to offer the update on the certification that Roz just received. Weren't you the one that sort of did the press release on that?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. So there are different levels of certification. And actually the CCTM, the Certified Community Transit Manager Certificate, is like the top certification that you can have. And it says that she is qualified to run a transit agency, basically. Right, Roz? Oh, that's what that means. That's what that means. And it's delivered from the CTAA, which is the Community Transportation Association of America. And so we're really
Excellent.
proud of her for taking the initiative to do that. It just
Right.
makes all of us stronger.
So that goes far beyond just the finance side of things and includes operations and all sorts of other transit related matters. Well, congratulations to Roz, and thank you for pursuing that on behalf of the Comet, and it brings a lot of even more expertise and skill to our staff. So
And Andy, if I can add, about a year and a half or so ago, she also got the transit and paratransit management certificate. And I think, isn't that the CTM? But y'all just gonna use y'all's designation, but yeah, so so it's the CTM and the CT. One of them, CCTM, so yeah.
so you're telling me she's gonna have a really long email signature with all sorts
I
of
know, right?
Hey, Leroy, go ahead, Dr. Morris.
No, I'll wait till you finish.
I was just gonna tell Leroy he better watch out. No, seriously, all jokes aside, as Roz, I told you yesterday, congratulations. We absolutely appreciate everything that you do for us, the entire staff, but this is your moment. So again, thank you. It's important to give people their flowers. And so again, thank you for everything that you do. Congratulations.
And Mr. Lawson, Mr. Lawson,
Yes, sir.
this is Leroy. But I agree with you. In my position, I feel like I should never be comfortable. And I know based on the success I've had, especially the past year, and the opportunity that I've had, seeing people like Roz and the rest of the staff take on the challenge of supporting me in what we needed to do as an agency, it makes me feel proud that I think as we grow and we look towards the future, that we have the people that can get us there. And I challenge them to go out and seek additional skills in education, because I think that rewards them in different ways, but it also gives them an opportunity to perform at the level that we need to. And as opportunities come available in the future, they'll be prepared to lead us into the future. So I find out that one big thing about achieving success, a lot depends on who's around you. And I'm proud of Rosalind and the rest of the staff that supports me every day. So I like feeling uncomfortable.
Well said, sir.
Mr. Chair,
Dr. Morris.
I also would like to congratulate Miss Andrews. She has always covered the back of many of our former employees, and I'm just so happy that she is able to serve us well. So thank you, Miss Andrews.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. Well, again, thank you all. Great meeting. Unless there's anything else, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
A second.
All right, very good. We stand adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.